Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are new around here, every single day at 1 p.m., we release a market update just like the one we're going to be presenting for you today, where we don't just cover the cryptocurrency markets and everything happening internally, fundamentally, and technically, but we look at markets further afield and try and piece this puzzle together. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this one. We're going to start things off by looking at a Bitcoin chart, looking at a 2-hourly chart, which is quite uncommon for us. We do drop down the time frames often, but not that regularly. We tend to focus more from an investment point of view on broader time frames. And of course, you guys know we've been assessing really since the 5th of January that this is now a bull market, an uptrending market. And certainly for Bitcoin, that's been the case. And we think altcoins are and have already started to have their time to shine. But we're going to cover that. We're going to start on a small term time frame and then work our way up. We've got a lot of news to cover. We're going to be looking at some comments made from Gensler yesterday, who's crawling out of his pit and really came out publicly and spoken for the first time since, of course, Ripple's win. He had some interesting things to say about the win, about the decisions made by Judge Torres in regards to XRP from an institutional and retail stance. You know, he kind of shares his disappointment from a retail stance. So we'll be playing a clip of Gensler commenting on that. Also going to give a bit of a shout out to Chainlinks, which CCIP has officially gone live on Avalanche, Ethereum, Optimism, and Polygon. You guys know that we're big fans of Chainlink. We think Link is a huge project. They recently partnered with Swift. And ultimately, I think Chainlink is going to be a part of the new system of finance that we are moving towards. And CCIP is a big step in that direction. It's why Chainlink did well. Chainlink has been in a range now for nearly a year and a half. And when it breaks out of that range and we expect it to the upside, we're doing stage analysis with the Patreon at the moment. We do think there's going to be a lot of momentum behind it. We're also going to be looking at MicroStrategy's top holders, which may shock some of you. Also talk about Vanguard, the Vanguard group that recently took, which is a $7 trillion dollar management company that recently took a 10% stake in something related to Bitcoin. You're seeing this across the board with institutions gaining Bitcoin exposure. They would not do that if they thought this was going to be a perpetual bear, which we have assessed that we are out of, certainly for Bitcoin. And then we'll look at some sort of boring-ish macro stuff like debt, so on and so forth. So this is going to be a jam-packed update. As always, guys, we always have a lot to bring to you, and we always bring it. Let's start things off with a Bitcoin chart. Now, this is a 2-hourly Bitcoin chart, and this is a chart that has been really in a range since the 21st of June, and we are still in it. It's been very, very boring. If you look at the kind of time period that we've been in this, you're talking nearly 27 days, and it's actually happening, moving now back up the time frames at a very, very key level that you've had a number of attempts at. So here was the first time, and you're now consolidating around it. And the level that I'm, of course, talking about is a level of key significance. We'll put the draws back on. And of course, it is that 30K level. Not only is it a nice big round number, but it has historically been a key level of significance and is currently still acting as exactly that. And we looked at these weekly candles the other day, and we essentially said that's showing a lot of indecision and potential uncertainty. But it's, in my opinion, quite positive that the drift off that you're having here, just like the drift off the kind of bull flag that we had here, this is quite positive. You know, this isn't harsh rejection. This is a slow drift. Ultimately, we do think the 30K level gets taken. You guys know that we have targets for 40K plus. And ultimately, you know, we got a head and shoulders target that takes you sort of 40K. Bull flag target that takes you sort of 43K, depending on where you want to draw it. If you take it from down at the 15K levels, when we were getting back into the market, you can see a 50K plus Bitcoin. But I have to be honest, going back to the 2-hourly timeframes, I have to share my disappointment, I guess, in Bitcoin's, and we'll make sure this is on log so it's not all over the place, lackluster nature given the spiller that we've seen from the dollar. So this is the dollar, rather confusingly in a lovely Bitcoin orange. We'll put it in a nice green color. You can see the dollar, and we know what the correlation between Bitcoin and the dollar is. You can see it's actually very apparent. Is Bitcoin just stalling? It's very, just to take this off again, interesting to me that Bitcoin has just been doing this whilst we've had news from the likes of BlackRock, whilst we've had news from You know, it's amazing news for the cryptocurrency market, and it's still in this range, and you're still in it today. You know, you're kind of flirting with the lower support level of the range. People will take this as a bid. You know, this is how ranges form, because you'll get range traders that will just step in and they'll just bid it to both the down and the upside. They'll look for deviations, so on and so forth. I'm sure you guys are familiar with range trading. But could this be a bit of a springboard here? We'll see. Ultimate test is, does it break to the downside and want to come back and revisit sort of 26k levels? I'm not so convinced that it's going to come back down here, 27, 26k. But I think it's largely positive. You know, it's not showing particular weakness here around that key level of 30k. And we do expect ultimately, you know, we think this is a bull. We think Bitcoin's going higher. To bring the dollar back on, I have to express a little bit of my distaste for the lackluster nature of Bitcoin. Despite the dollar getting absolutely smashed, dollar's showing no strength in my opinion at all right now. It's having a bit of a sort of, you can almost say it's a bear flag forming. To bring in the S&P as well, let's put this in red. You know, is there just a laggard here? Or is there another reason why perhaps Bitcoin's just going sideways when the S&P is doing well, and so is the dollar? You know, we did highlight, and we're one of the few channels that have a good grasp on everything going on the kind of economic landscape, the fact that it is earnings season. You've got a lot of the S&P coming up over the next 2 weeks. S&P has been doing absolutely sensationally. You know, we've asserted not just for Bitcoin and crypto, but we've made very good calls on the stock market, things like gold, even things like the dollar. You know, there was a very interesting thing that I want to share. This is the largest US home builder, and this is from Alicio. Is this a bear market rally? Asking for a friend, and we've applied that, getting rid of these now, and then we'll move on to some internal crypto news. To the stock market, for example, which we've been long and strong, the stock market. You know, we've got targets, we've got fundamental reasons or theoretical in regards to rates, and we've looked at all this previously. We don't see anybody talking about the context of sideways rates and what that usually brings for markets after an aggressive tightening, certainly the likes of the S&P as a metric. You know, this has done absolutely fantastic, and we've got targets of you know, upwards of, that's not what I wanted, 40, what am I on about? 5k, essentially, is where we think this is going. New all-time highs. We think that theoretically we've got knowledge for that as well. You know, is this a bear market rally, ladies and gents? And the answer for me is no, it's not. This has been our kind of poster child that we've used. It looks like you're going to get a bit of a pullback today in regards to how the pre-market's opening, and certainly some of the futures. Gold's doing well. Again, off that bull flag, bouncing. Let's hope and see continuation. Dollar's still getting absolutely smashed, showing no strength at all, and Bitcoin's not really doing anything. So, kind of makes me think there's a bit of a stalling taking place here. Let's get it on log. It really annoys me that TradingView switched this up. Not enough to cancel my subscription, but you can see that you're pivot, you're kind of hovering here, you know, off this real key level. You're going to get a move out of this, and it's going to have quite a bit of momentum with it. And you know, often, and we've always said this, you know, when you approach these key levels, it's kind of like a not a high jump, a hurdle. You don't just jump from it static. Often you want to take a run up to it and clear it. And that could be what you're doing here in a kind of more stronger manner. But then again, if you lose your support, you know what to do. You go short. Not that I think the majority of people should be trading. Actually, I genuinely believe when it comes to crypto, don't bother trading with any kind of leverage for the majority of people. If you want to be a trader, take that journey. It's a long journey that will undoubtedly lead to a lot of frustration, and hopefully you can bear it to come out the other end of it and start becoming profitable. But it's not an overnight thing. And I have a real distaste with how trading is promoted on Twitter and YouTube, because I can tell you firsthand, and I'm not the best trader in the world, far from it, but it's a long, very painful journey. Where you get to know yourself very well. You get to know, you know, it's not something that comes overnight, and it's something that, just like everything, these guys selling signals and stuff like that are so full of crap. You know, because it's not as easy as that. But enough of that. So it's very interesting. We've got this range forming. You know, still from a macro point of view, we're or a broader point of view, we're very long. We're sure that Bitcoin is now in a bull. We've done cycle analysis. We've done lots of things on it. Stage analysis, so on and so forth. Technical targets, you name it. But ultimately, right now, you're kind of stalling around this key level. We'll see which way it breaks. We are, of course, hopeful for the upside, but it doesn't have to be the case. Remember, we have got, and this may be a tilting factor, the rate hike that currently has a 97% probability of them doing a 25%. I don't know why they've done it in this manner. They've missed a meeting, so they've officially paused, but now they're saying, okay, well, we're going to do one in the next month, so we're not pausing. And that could just be them beating their chest a little bit. Maybe the dollar's in trouble. The dollar's signaling sort of the end of rate hikes as well, I believe. Certainly in relation to other, from the Dixie, it's against the euro, it's against a number of other central banks that are continuing to hike. Going to be very interesting. Let's move on to a little bit of crypto news. This, of course, is Gensler recently coming out of his pit and talking about Ripple in specific. Let's hear what he has to say. I think he won a mug at this event. Very fitting. I think he is a bit of a mug.
How does the federal court ruling last week in the Ripple case impact your stance toward digital asset regulation? Does it inject urgency into the need for federal legislation to clarify regulatory oversight of this industry?
Look, our mission remains exactly what I spoke about earlier, about investor protection, promoting capital formation, and the markets in the middle. This is a recent decision, just a handful of days ago. We were pleased from that decision, recognizing the importance of protecting investors on the institutional investors in that, and that the court movement with regard to fair notice, and while disappointed on what they said about retail investors, we're still looking at it and assessing that opinion.
Wow. So he's not really been deterred, I guess. But why would he? It's probably a huge blow to his ego. He seems like a very egotistical guy. He's obviously got big ambitions. I believe he wants to become Yellen. Moving on to some other news. Not become Yellen as in, transform into Yellen as in take her treasury position. Let's not go down that route. So the Chainlink cross-chain interoperability protocol, CCIP, has officially launched on Avalanche, Ethereum, Optimism, and Polygon mainnet. This is huge. This Chainlink is a project that we're just nothing short of a massive fan of. Let's get out and take a quick look at Chainlink as we're mentioning it. I'm going to do a whole video on this, reiterate what CCIP is. You've been in a range here for a long time, and you will break out of this, and I believe to the upside, and I think you're going to see new all-time highs and above for Chainlink. I really do, and we're taking that investment position. You want to find out more about what I'm investing in, where I'm investing in, please do consider joining the Patreon. Let's move on to a little bit of other news, guys. The Vanguard Group, which manages $7 trillion of assets, of wealth, has purchased a 10% stake in Bitcoin miner Riot. Now, this is extremely important. You're getting a lot of moves from big companies like this all around the same time as the ETF filings. This is interesting because we know, and we looked at the start of the year, the fact that BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard Group, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, I think their earnings are out today, actually, which is going to be interesting, all actually took stakes in MicroStrategy. Now, they are not investing in MicroStrategy because they believe Michael Saylor is a prophet. They are investing in MicroStrategy ultimately because they want the Bitcoin exposure in a regulatory manner. Now, they can't currently get that unless they went through GBTC, which perhaps doesn't really, it's an interesting metric. The fees are quite high. So this is essentially why they're doing it. You can see the top holders of MicroStrategy are Capital Research and Management, the Vanguard Group, which we've looked at here being a $7 trillion organization, Fidelity Management and Research, BlackRock Fund Advisory. You can see you've got things like Morgan Stanley Investment. You've got things like Invesco Capital Management. These are all people that have also filed for ETFs as well, spot ETFs. Very interesting. Why are the institutions all buying into products that have Bitcoin exposure? And certainly at this point, is that because they're expecting it to go down? I don't think so. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We're not using that to completely portray our bull case, but it's a factor. I think if you want to have an opinion on the markets, you need more than one reason to have that. And this is a small but significant factor, I think, with these institutions getting Bitcoin exposure that we kind of compound into our overall reasoning and rationale on the markets. Again, we looked at the home builder, very interesting. World debt at a record high. This is talking about 1 trillion annualized debt cost. At what point does QT become QE? It's a complete joke what's going on right now. Bitcoin is nothing short of a success. And it's going to continue to be so. We're going to do a video looking at 5 predictions that were made some over 100 years ago about something similar to what Bitcoin looks like today, and just how important it is, and sort of the revolutionary and interesting factors that Bitcoin has brought to the table. I think that would be a great video. We've played many clips like Frederick von Hayek talking about it, Milton Friedman, a number of others, and it is really interesting. And Bitcoin has opened Pandora's box and has brought something truly special to the world. And I think now you've got the likes of these predictions that were made 100 years ago about an e-commerce currency. You've got even the likes of Larry Fink going on national television and saying that Bitcoin is a global asset that is going to transcend any one currency because of its global nature. So on that note, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. Let's see what way Bitcoin breaks out of this smaller term time frame range, ultimately bigger term time frame. We're even happy for it to drift off a little bit more. We are long and strong, guys. And on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you've enjoyed the content, like is greatly appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next.